Triumph's most affordable motorcycle, the Trident 660, has landed in India. But sadly, gone are the days when middleweight motorcycles had middleweight price tags. The Trident is no different, with a starting ex-showroom price tag of 6.95 lakh Indian rupees. The Trident is still competitively priced when you look at the options like the Honda CB650R and the Scrambler Ducati. And if you look at the slightly more affordable options, you'll find that the twin-cylinder Kawasaki Z650 is just about 70,000 rupees cheaper than the Trident. So, we spent some time with the Trident 660 to find out if it makes a strong case for itself in the market, and we are going to tell you what our thoughts are about it. We are not going to waste a lot of time in explaining the design part, because here is the Trident 660 on your screen and you can judge it fittingly. But we would like to tell you that it does not look very big or radical as some of its rivals, so do not expect it to be a head-turner at all. But we did like the simple yet elegant design approach, and while it is not really big, it is definitely pleasing. Moving to the ergonomics, the Trident feels spot on. Though very tall riders, 6 feet or above, will find it a bit too small, and the knee recesses will not be accommodating enough. Those who are average in height will love the seating position and the compactness of the bike. You sit quite upright on the Trident, but the flatter handlebar and the rear set foot pegs maintain the sporty intentions. Along with its friendly riding position, the 805mm seat height and 189kg curb weight further makes it manageable for riders of most sizes. The contoured seat is very comfortable whether you ride it in traffic or go for long rides on open roads, and the same is the case for even the pillion rider. The engine is the highlight of the Trident, maybe because it carries the same inline triple legacy that this British brand has built over a century. The all-new 660cc motor produces 80 horsepower at 10,500 rpm and a torque of 64 Nm that peaks out at a little above 6,000 rpm. While the numbers may not seem too impressive for a mid-capacity motorcycle, it is plenty fast for most applications. The Trident sprints to 100 km/h mark from standstill in less than 4.5 seconds and goes north of 200 km/h for its maximum stretch without much effort. It feels refined and linear throughout the rev range, but the throttle response below 3000 rpm is slightly abrupt. But it is not something that you're going to notice a lot, because this engine loves to be revved and plasters a big smile on your face. The engine might be all fun and games when riding the guts out of the bike, but it is also fairly pocket-friendly. It has a service interval of 16,000 kilometers like the new Street Triple, and the service cost is not stratospheric either. It is around 9,000 rupees, which is not bad at all, especially considering that most people will need it to be serviced maybe once or twice a year. The 6-speed gearbox also feels extremely slick to use, and it is tuned for a sporty feel with short ratios. Triumph also gives an option to upgrade it with a quick shifter, but you're hardly going to feel the need for this optional feature. Coming to the handling part, the Trident 660 is not as aggressive as the Street Triple, and that has been done on purpose. Its wheelbase is slightly longer than its sibling, and the rake is also not as sharp, but the compactness and the lightweight of the motorcycle does not make you feel that. The suspension is also not a very high-end system. The rear gets basic preload adjustability, and it is not as firm as a Street Triple, nor is it too soft like the Street Twin, and that makes it a perfect compromise for those just entering the segment. It feels perfectly fine on broken tarmac, and the ground clearance is also not a problem as such. The compression is smooth and it settles back on rebound without any hint of bouncing or instability, so full marks on that. There is not much electronic assistance apart from ABS and traction control, that too with just rain and road riding modes. This is completely fine for its segment, but we find the intrusion of the traction control a bit aggressive. Some people may like it, some people may not. Why do we say that? Well, the traction control interferes a fair bit even when there is sufficient grip between the road and the Michelin Road 5 tires, which are not really bad till as long as you're not riding aggressively. It becomes a problem when you're leaning the motorcycle at a good pace in a corner and the soft suspension plays a bit against you. Not that it will get unstable, but it is just not the best experience with traction control turned on. So you might want to switch the traction control off before any such cornering attempts. Braking is an area where the Trident scores good marks. It may not have the best setup in the business, like a 4-piston front or something aggressive, but the Nissan system it has works rather well for this particular motorcycle. Triumph says that you can bring the Trident to a halt from 100 km/h in just 42 meters, and that's very believable. But the braking power is not the only thing that impressed us. The feedback and the directness that you feel with the system is also very pleasing. To sum it up, the Triumph Trident 660 makes a strong case for itself in the middleweight segment. It is not the most comfortable option for tall riders, but for those who are below 6 feet will find it the best experience in the segment, and that too with spot-on pricing.